In today's class we will see how we gonna save the particular biodiversity. Okay, last class khatam hua tha why to save, and today we'll start how to save the particular biodiversity. Now whenever we talk about saving of biodiversity, we should remember that biodiversity is a big matter, and when it's about saving a biodiversity, this thing is not conserved to the particular country. It's a combined motto of the entire world, and we'll see there are certain summit, the earth summit which have taken place, the world summit which have taken place. It is on to the earth summit in case of your particular 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, which have taken place. Now when we talk about preservation, the preservation can be basically done by two different means. One is called the in situ preservation, and one is called the ex situ preservation. We know in situ preservation, if you're gonna preserve a particular organism in their natural habitat, then you say that you are basically preserving the particular microorganism or conserving the particular microorganism in their natural habitat, or in situ conservation, in place other than natural habitat. So if you want to preserve a particular organism away from the particular natural habitat, then you call them the ex situ conservation method. Now whenever we talk about in situ conservation method, we basically talk about protected areas. Okay, so what happens, like whatever area where you will find a particular variety which is going to be extinct, and if it has a very high ecological impact, then what we do, we just convert that entire area into a protected area. हम लोग उस पूरे एरिया को क्या करेंगे सर, protected area में convert कर देंगे सर. And one of such example is called the sacred groves, also known as the sacred forest. We can have the sacred lakes, etc. Now, whenever we talk about a sacred grove or a sacred forest, we should remember that this is something which is maintained by the local community or the local people which are present there. So you can go to this particular area, you can roam in this particular area, but you cannot harm that particular area. So that is the basic motto of the particular sacred groups. Now the next which comes here is your particular national parks. Now national park are another protected areas, or we can also say there are another group which are wildlife sanctuaries. Now these both are basically a protected area, and especially if I am talking about the national park, we will see that national parks are basically protected area which are owned by central government. Okay, these are owned by the central government, but run by state government. इनको रन कौन करता है सर, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट रन करता है सर. इसके अलावा अगर हम तीसरा बात कर रहे हैं सर, यहाँ पर द थर्ड preservation method we will talk about is called the bioreserves. Now bioreserves, if I am talking about, we'll see that there can be two different type of bioreserves. One is called your particular terrestrial bioreserves, and another is your aquatic bioreserves. ठीक है, दो डिफरेंट टाइप का बायो रिजर्व्स हमको देखने को मिलता है सर. बायो रिजर्व्स का स्पेशलिटी क्या है सर? पहला चीज, दे आर द लार्जेस्ट प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया सर. दे आर द largest protected area, and sir, to be precise, one biosphere can contain more than one national park also. They are the largest protected area, and if you are looking at this particular thing, you have a core region here where there is no human activity which is allowed. Apart from the core region, you have the buffer region here. What happens here? Some human activities are allowed. They can come, they can collect timber, they can collect leaves, of the plants which are medicinally important, or some other products like the gums and extra things which are present in this particular area. Just outside this buffer area, we have the transition area. Third area is called the transition area. And here, what do we see? Human population reside. Human population resides. So we are seeing that bioreserves are basically areas where human population can reside. So it is beneficial for the organism as well as for the particular human population which are living in that particular area. ठीक है सर, क्लियर? देखिए, इनके अलावा अगर हम सेक्रेट ग्रुप्स का बात कर रहे हैं, so there are certain examples which are given. In case of your particular NCRT, this is Khasi and Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya, which are basically sacred groves, and I have visited these sacred groves luckily. Then we have Western Ghat of Karnataka, and Maharashtra. We have your what do we say here is, what are the other examples? Then we have your Aravalli Hills in Rajasthan. We have your particular Sarguza, Chanda and Bastar in Madhya Pradesh. Where are these sacred groves which are found, sir? In case of your living world, we have already seen some of the particular ex-situ conservation. And let us just write down the name of ex-situ conservation. We have our botanical garden here, which will be present, which we have discussed even in living world. We have your particular zoological parks, which are there, zoological parks. We have your seed bank. We have something called pollen bank. We have home gardens, where different organisms can be stored in their particular conditions which are different from their natural habitats, or place different from their natural habitats. So these are the different methods for the preservation of your particular ecological diversity. And as when I started the class, I have told you that biodiversity conservation do not have a country limitation. Okay, so biodiversity conservation is always been everyone's main priority. And we are talking everyone, we are trying to talk about countries. Okay, every country's main priority. Okay, every country's main priority. So what happens for this thing, for the first time in 1992, okay, there was the first Earth Summit which have taken place. Okay, so the first Earth Summit have taken place in 1992 in a place called Rio de Janeiro, where the importance of your particular biodiversity has been discussed, and people have agreed that they need to particularly preserve the biodiversity and conserve the particular biodiversity and go for something called sustainable utilization of the particular biodiversity. Later, in case of your 2002, we have seen the World Summit. Now this World Summit has taken place in the area called Johannesburg. Now, here the main motto was sustainable development, because everyone knows we need to develop our own countries, but the development should be sustainable. It should not be on the verge of finishing your particular biodiversity, sir. So it is development along with preserving biodiversity. And the latest meeting of this particular union has taken place somewhere in 30th of September in 2020. वो जरूरी नहीं है सर, क्योंकि हमारे लिए सिर्फ यही इंपॉर्टेंट है, विच इज गिवन इन एनसीईआरटी. So it is 1992 2002 where first and second meeting which have taken place in case of their particular uh, particular sustainable development, and they have taken a pledge also that they will achieve it by 2010. So they have taken a pledge that whatever the motto and the principles and the demands which have been decided should be achieved by 2010, sir. Obviously fulfill नहीं हुआ सर, अभी तक चल रहा है सर वो चीजें, तो इसको लिख लीजिए. If we are talking about hotspots, they are area rich, they are area rich and having threatened. हम लोग देखिए दो वर्ड यूज कर रहे हैं सर यहाँ पर. एक तो वर्ड यूज कर रहे हैं रिच, ओके, और इसी के साथ हम लोग एक वर्ड यूज कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर थ्रेटेंड. ओके, सो दे आर द एरिया रिच एंड थ्रेटेंड, most threatened, you can say the most threatened reservoir of plant and animal life on earth. Now, this is something which is interesting, sir. We are saying the particular area is rich in species diversity. So if you remember, I have told you before also that area which is rich in species diversity makes the particular ecological system much more stable. Then why we are using the word like threatened? So the reason of using the word threatened is because there are many species which are confined to this hotspots only, to this hotspot only. एंड इस प्रोसेस को हम लोग सर बोलते हैं सर एंडेमिज्म, क्या अलग से लिखते हैं. दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड सर एंडेमिज्म, ENDEMIS. Endemism is what? If a particular species is basically confined to a particular area, then we call that it is an endemic species. Now, what is there with this particular endemism, sir? So try to understand one thing, sir. If there are species which are confined to this particular area, and if the particular area is altered or destroyed, that means that particular species will be extinct from the particular surface of earth. So that's why we say these are rich as well as threatened, most threatened reservoirs. Now if we are talking about bioreserves, what we see is initially there was only 25 bioreserves which are present. Initially there were only 25 hotspots which are present, bioreserves you are saying, hotspots which are present, and now we have 34 hotspots. And out of this, if we see, India have 3 hotspots. We talk about India, we have 3 hotspots. One is called the Western Ghat. Now I am talking about Western Ghat. It's start from your Mumbai, or you can say the Maharashtra. It goes to Karnataka, following Kerala, and even extend to, कहाँ तक extend करेगा सर? Even extend to Sri Lanka. इसके बाद जो next है सर वो है इंडो बर्मन. तो ये स्टार्ट होता है सर भूटान से, cover northeastern India and goes till Myanmar. And then we have the last hotspot, which is your Himalayan hotspot. And remember, sir, Himalayan are the richest hotspots. So there are 3 different hotspots in case of your particular India. Clear, Babu?
Yes, sir.
लिख लो. तो सर एक्सटिंक्ट वाला समझ में आ गया, जो गायब हो चुका है ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ अर्थ. दूसरा है सर क्रिटिकली एंडेंजर्ड वन. नाउ व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट क्रिटिकली एंडेंजर्ड वन, व्हाट डू वी से हियर इज दिस आर ऑन द थ्रेट ऑफ एक्सटेंशन in nearby or in immediate future. तो अगर आपका कोई पार्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म एक थ्रेट ऑफ एक्सटिंक्शन है इमीडिएट फ्यूचर में, मान लीजिए 1 महीना के अंदर शायद खत्म हो जाए, तो हम उसको बोलेंगे क्रिटिकली एंडेंजर्ड स्पीसीज. फिर आता है सर एंडेंजर्ड. इट इज ऑल्सो इन थ्रेट ऑफ एक्सटिंक्शन. और अभी नहीं सर, कब? नियर बाय फ्यूचर में. नियर बाय फ्यूचर में हम लोग का ये मर जाएगा सर. ठीक है. फिर आता है सर हम लोग का वनरेबल. वनरेबल. तो वनरेबल सर इट इज ऑल्सो इन थ्रेट ऑफ एक्सटेंशन. ठीक है. ये भी हम लोग का क्या है सर? थ्रेट ऑफ एक्सटेंशन में है सर. बट कब? क्या वो जल्दी मरने वाला है या नियर बाय फ्यूचर में मरने वाला है? नहीं सर. तो इसका जो एक्सटेंशन है सर उसमें टाइम लगेगा सर. इट विल लीड सम मोर टाइम सर. तो सर इसके लिए हम लोग वर्ड यूज करते हैं सर मीडियम टर्म फ्यूचर. इन मीडियम टर्म फ्यूचर सर. तो दिस इज कॉल्ड योर एक्सटिंक्ट स्पीसीज, क्रिटिकली एंडेंजर्ड स्पीसीज, एंडेंजर्ड स्पीसीज एंड वनरेबल स्पीसीज. ये डेफिनेशन इंपॉर्टेंट है सर, क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं सर. लिख लीजिए.